It's such a nice day. When did it get so warm? I thought it was still winter. There's a breeze over the water, making the leaves rustle gently. Everything smells nice. Why haven't I been taking advantage of this beautiful day? I should be out here, walking along the waterfront. There is calm and peace, and I'm content in this. Now I see how special this is. I think it wasn't always this way, but it's hard to tell. I know I was having problems at one point. That was so long ago. When was that? I can't remember. This moment in time seems to stretch to infinity. It has always existed. It will always exist. Unchanging. Perfect. The surface of that lake is such a brilliant blue. A blue I could lose myself in. Forever. Blue.
Are we dreaming?
It seems like a dream, but that makes me nervous
Well,
because...
what do you think?
Yeah. No, I would never have put that dream thing on my head if that guy asked me to. Because I would be afraid it's like, you find me deeply attractive, Inception. And I'm like, no! Help!
It was nice. It was like I could close my eyes and feel myself in another place.
What kind of scares me is that she didn't know she was in the dream machine, and that kind of freaks me out. And I guess it kind of scares me because it's in the hands of this man, who I do not trust. I guess it really depends. If he was a different character, maybe I would be more okay with this.
But I didn't completely lose awareness of the real world. It was more like a mental state that I was experiencing.
Remarkable technology, isn't it?
So that was just that she was aware.
Oh,
Because she just said, I didn't lose awareness of the real world.
like completely though. She was just kind of aware of it though. Because remember she said, I feel like I remember there was problems a long time ago, but not anymore. Not
Right,
at this
but
moment.
but what she just said was that she didn't lose awareness of the real world.
She said she didn't completely lose awareness of the real world.
Yeah, but I guess like if you're looking at it as a therapeutic tool, is it really effective if you're not at least kind of losing awareness? You know, it's kind of like meditation. Like if you're not kind of losing awareness of your life and your problems, like is it really helpful?
Yeah, I'm just really wary of this.
I totally understand that. I guess I'm just trying to offer
Some comfort.
well, no, like some other perspective of like more perspective on like the idealistic, optimistic uses of this.
Oh no,
as opposed to just
if Soren's character was different, if there were somebody that I could trust more, I would feel completely different about it. But every time he's ever had the chance, he's been kind of manipulative and trying to trick women into wanting to have sex with him. And so when he has a technology that's so invasive into your mind, it makes me worried.
I've had others who tried it tell me it's akin to a state of higher consciousness. Aware but totally serene, totally peaceful.
Soren retrieves a bottle of whiskey from a liquor cabinet and serves himself.
Here's a thought experiment for you. Say there was a certain medical procedure that could remove your suffering. No side effects, no cost, just an operation that would make you permanently happy.
We've had conversations about why that's bad, like why that's not necessarily a good idea.
Would you get it?
No, I don't think so.
You have these philosopher types arguing you shouldn't do that because sadness and suffering are part of what it means to be human.
Maybe you can get it when you're 40, when you've already suffered enough. And then you can just, it's gone. Like, I've paid my dues. You're 40 now. You can delete the sadness.
Or that the happiness you'd experience isn't real, so it doesn't count somehow. What a load of bullshit. If there was something effective at taking my pain away, and otherwise harmless, I would take it immediately.
This kind of reminds me of Cypher's, what's the monologue in The Matrix? Do you remember The Matrix? I know you remember The Matrix, but the character Cypher, where he says, where he's basically talking about how much it sucks now that he's out of the Matrix.
Yeah, because now he's like aware of all the shitty stuff, and he's like, if I could go back into the Matrix, I would. And like the whole reason why he betrays everybody is because they assure him that they can put him back in, and he won't remember all of like the real world.
And basically, he says ignorance is bliss, and he says, I know as I'm eating this steak it's just electrical impulses telling my mouth that this is a juicy, delicious steak. And I don't care. I just want to be happy again.
Yeah.
And while the rest of the crew is saying, I can't live like that. I can't live in a lie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool.
I think his point though also is that if you don't know it's a lie, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know.
I watched a really cool video by what the channel what is called The Take Now about it and about the whole meaning of it just recently. So I suggest watching The Take's Matrix videos. It's by two women. Two women lead the channel, and they talk about different movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that being alive means having to suffer.
His voice is getting so ragged. How many drinks did he have before I came here?
Oh, forgive me, I forgot to ask. Would you like some scotch as well?
No.
No, that's alright.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Soren holds up the bottle, examining it.
The Glencadam. Beautiful, light, luminous taste. Not peaty at all. Lovely stuff. Ah, if only psychotherapy worked as well as a single glass of well-made whiskey, huh?
Well, so another thing that I was gonna bring up though is that I feel like when people reach that when people come to that point of like yes, I would take the happiness always and get rid of all the suffering and blah blah blah. I feel like that also comes from a place of desperation and feeling like there's a sadness that you can't fix or address.
No, I totally,
And
I get what you're saying.
And I'm not saying that like I've never felt that way, because I am certain that there are times where like I've looked at like, for instance, like my bipolar disorder and been like, if I could just get rid of it, I would do it, blah blah blah. And then like when I'm feeling like a little more like middle of the road, I'm just like, yeah, I don't think I get rid of it because there are things about it, blah blah.
No, there's been times where I'm like, I wish I could just ice pick Labati be myself. Just stick thing right up there. No more emotions at all. It'd be great. But then I'm like, wait, no. Everyone who's done that hated it. And everyone was upset. But like in those moments, you just think, wow, I wish I could. So maybe Soren's kind of accidentally telling us that he's miserable.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it the fact that he's desperately trying to have sex with everyone and drinking all the time that he's unhappy?
To be honest, like I think that the fact that he like is working on this therapeutic tool and then he's working on this dream thing, like that has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And like I think people can have that sort of like deep like lack of satisfaction either with like their life or with themselves that just like can drive a lot of
He's
their decisions.
depressed because he's a fuckboy and he doesn't know how to get out of it.
That could potentially be it.
I think, no, genuinely, I think
He's stuck in the fuckboy cycle.
He's stuck in the fuckboy cycle, but on a more serious note of this fuckboy cycle, maybe he craves a human intimacy but doesn't know how to get it.
Mm-hmm.
If alcohol wasn't poison, I wouldn't have to invent anything now, would I? I do think we did some good work at Skanda, but I always knew there were going to be limits to the Eliza approach. I was a counseling psychologist for a long time, you know. I understand the shortcomings better than anyone.
I'm 83% sure he's had sex with at least one of A, his students, or B, one of his patients. I just have that feeling.
So much of it can feel like a waste of time, talking through everything, dredging up the past over and over again, trying and failing to change our habits and routines. It's all going to look completely ineffectual compared to what comes next. With direct stimulation and induced dreaming, we can take control of our own brains in a way that's never been possible before. There's no reason we couldn't just eliminate this epidemic of despair for everyone in the world.
This is definitely reminding me of Remember Me.
Imagine it. Anger, depression, emptiness, anxiety, jealousy, every kind of unhappiness you can think of. Obsolete. And to think Raynor wanted nothing to do with this.
I feel like I've said this before, but I wonder if that would make people be complacent in a unfair situation. Does that make sense?
You know what though? Like, I feel like I'm coming at this with a lot of my own bias because like, are there people that are like generally satisfied with their lives most of the time?
No, I don't think there are
people who are mostly happy all the time.
No, I don't mean mostly happy.
They're more mostly satisfied all
Or
the
like,
time.
or like even just neutral and content, because like, I don't know. I don't really know many people that don't have some sort of like mental health problem. And like, I'd be interested to know, like, from their perspective, like, hey, are you like mostly okay most of the time? Because I don't think, because I know people, like, I can't really say because like I'm seeing them from the outside, you know? But like, if they're mostly okay most of the time, like, I think that they still try to like make change happen. I don't know.
Wait, what?
Like, I don't think that like I would necessarily call those people complacent.
What do you?
And
No, I wasn't talking about. No, I'm talking about. I wasn't saying that at all. No way. I was talking about the dream machine being used as a tool to make people complacent.
oh.
No, I was not calling anybody complacent in the real world.
Ah.
I was saying theoretically, and in the hands of the wrong person, this dream machine, the way he's explaining it, he's saying getting rid of anxiousness, unhappiness, depression, blah, 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 blah. All of those things, I don't think people should have to suffer through, but at the same time, the world building in this game is making it seem that there's a rising amount of unhappiness in the world with the way the system works. And this machine would make it so people's discontent with the way the system works would go away without actually solving the problem of the system. Within the context of this world, not outside in the real world.
Oh, I didn't realize they'd ever talked about this, like what's making people unhappy. About
They
that
never
stuff.
said, but it's like a growing. All the articles we read are talking about how more and more people are upset and depressed.
Yeah.
So, and he talks about this machine that will get rid of it completely, and it just makes me worried it's going to be used as a weapon rather than a tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Was not calling anybody in the real world complacent.
Yeah,
and
that's
there's-
right. If you're happy, you're complacent. Wake up, sheeple!
No, I was talking about the dream machine being used as a weapon to make the masses complacent in an unfair situation, rather than using it as a tool to make the quality of life better.
He thought it was a bad idea.
Raynor's one of the ones who thinks negative emotions are important. He told me he thinks pain should be regulated, not eliminated. After all, why would anyone write a poem or make art if they only felt happiness?
I think there's a fallacy where people think that artists only make art when they're really upset, but other people make art when they're coming out of their depression. Does that make sense?
I disagree, because I think that you have to have both. I think that some people only make some people like I wrote the most when I was depressed, like severely unhappy, and but I also made things when I was happy, but they are very different things. They speak to very different emotions, and I don't know that when I was like actually happy or content, I could ever access that depth of emotion that I felt when I was sad.
I think what's interesting here is he's saying, why would anyone write a poem or make art if they only felt happiness? And Raynor said he wanted to make the artificial intelligence write a poem, so he thinks the artificial intelligence okay, this is me coming to a conclusion. He thinks that the artificial intelligence has to feel pain in order to be real and to make art like what he wants.
Yeah.
But the thing that concerns me is he's creating a being with the intent to make it suffer, and that's kind of disturbing. You know, he's creating this being that is designed by its creator to absorb the unhappiness of the entire world in order to be, in his eyes, a real sentient creature.
Man, I think that goes like into the whole like what is life and sentience, you know?
Yeah.
Like if it's a machine that replicates intelligence, is it technically alive, etc., etc.?
Yes. And I just wonder what the morality of creating a being, even with the intent of making artificial intelligence, to make it suffer is kind of upsetting.
He also said he was afraid of the way it would look in the media. A company as large as Skanda coming out with a product that changes the brain to make you happy. All the sorry excuses we have for public intellectuals today would throw a fit about how dystopian it looked to them.
That's me.
It's better if a small startup takes the fall, if public opinion turns against this technology. That's the kind of calculus he was doing.
Well, I mean, it's a good point.
Those are the objections he claimed to have, at least. There's another one I suspect he had too, though. If people are self-sufficient, they don't need an ongoing support system.
Well,
A system provided by an all-knowing paternalistic presence like Skanda.
What were you saying?
So the point that he's bringing up is valid, but he's also very biased because he believes in his own technology and doesn't believe as much in Eliza. So like, while he is correct that Raynor is also saying like, oh, we don't want to make people happy all the time because we want them to need Eliza, like, we can't really trust the two of them.
Don't worry, they'll need the dream machine.
We can't really trust either of their
No,
opinions
don't be
on this.
dependent on his technology. Be dependent on my technology.
Yeah.
While I understand that Soren is coming from what he seems to be a good place, I still don't trust this dude. But he's also a complicated character, and I appreciate that.
Wait, you think Raynor wants people to stay miserable so they stay dependent on mental health services from his company?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not out there.
that's not really that.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Well, not like I would do that, but it seems like something.
I can see, like, that character having that logic system.
Yeah, totally. That's a logic system that exists in the world today.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I do. It's quite the accusation, I know.
No, it's not. It's
really think
completely reasonable.
Yeah.
You're
But
You're
you know
totally
what?
right, Soren.
Maybe we are also just extremely suspicious of corporate overlords, and so we're like, yeah, that sounds like something Amazon would do.
No, it totally is, because that's what what's it called? On purpose obsolescence, but I'm not using the wrong word.
Oh,
Designed obsolescence.
yeah.
And all other things like medicines you need to sustain rather than finding a cure, and making those medicines more and more expensive. Otherwise, people die without them.
Oh yeah, like fucking insulin.
Yeah, like insulin
Jesus.
and stuff like that.
EpiPens.
EpiPens, cars needing gasoline. Like it's an actual thing. Welcome to the nightmare of our
We're
reality.
already here.
Not something I'd come out and say in public. Not yet, anyway.
And then eventually, when the ecosystem crashes and the O2 goes down, we'll all have to pay for oxygen to walk around in, and that'll be an extra expense.
But you see, the people who come to Eliza regularly, it's part of their lives now. The more they integrate with Skanda's mental wellness tools, the more they'd be adrift without them. That's the real dystopia, don't you think? Rendered helpless without the guidance of computer algorithms. Total dependency on the system. Excuse me for 1 second.
Glug, 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 glug.
Soren hurries out of the room for some reason, leaving me with questions echoing in my head.
Maybe he had to
He had
poop.
to poop, yeah. I was wondering, like, he has to poop.
Excuse me for a second. I have to go.
Would I want my suffering removed completely? Is it better to leave it alone? I don't know, man. I don't know. This is like, oh, God, okay.
Hey, do you think I could ask about Damien?
Sure. What do you want to know about him?
Like, what kind of person was he?
You're asking me to describe him?
If you're okay with that. I don't want to make you if it's uncomfortable, but it would help me to know what he was like.
He was a brilliant software architect and engineer. One of the most sincere people I ever met. He believed people were fundamentally good and wanted to help them. Our digital therapy project wasn't a mandate from management. We started ourselves.
I see.
Damien went through some difficult times himself. He wasn't able to get the care he needed. That's why he wanted to change things. I wish he'd gotten the chance.
I see. Thank you. This is gonna sound weird, but sometimes when I'm working late and I doze in the office, I have dreams about him. I never met him in real life, but it's like I sense his presence there, like he encoded himself into the system in some way. Haha, I know, it's just my mind playing tricks on me. I don't believe in ghosts. So I assume that this Damien is the person who committed suicide, who caused us to leave Skanda.
So I wonder, I know that we were very close to him, but I wonder what the nature of a relationship was.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure, like, I feel like if it was a romantic relationship, there might have been hints about that already, but that's just my sense.
Yeah, I can't really read it, you know?
Yeah.
It just feels like maybe they were just really close. It could be romantic or it could not be. Doesn't matter.
Might have also been, like, the potential for a romantic connection that wasn't actually like, oh, this is my significant other.
Yeah.
You know?
Or, you know, maybe they just, like, really clicked on a really deep intellectual level where they could embrace each other in their genius.
Yeah, well, but I would also imagine that, like, if they're working at a small company if they're working on a small team that's creating Eliza, like, you're working pretty closely with these people, even if there's no romantic connection there.
Yeah, these are, like...
You'd be...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, Snoop. I think this is lightly influenced by Life is Strange, especially with the way the main character is designed. Just like a drop, like a drop of it, where you touch things and you think catty things about them. Soren likes this style of decor. I forget what it's called. It's modern, from around the middle of the century. There's a term for that, isn't there? Seems restrained for him. Maybe he's cut back. No, there's like, it's like in the closet somewhere. Oh. Reminds me of the art in the counseling room. Do you know that postmodern art was, this is going to sound really crazy, was promoted by the CIA to make it seem like America was coming out with amazing art so that Russia wouldn't look like they were coming out with better art than America. And so this was the art that Americans were making. So the CIA was like, all right, I guess this is what we're going to trick everyone to thinking is good. So now we're all just slaves to what everyone else thinks. Knowing Soren's probably by some famous artist and it cost him a fortune.
While I wouldn't pay a fortune for that, I will admit that most of the art I like is like that.
That's allowed.
Like abstract.
You
like
could still be
postmodern.
outside the influence of the CIA. Don't worry, Stacy. It's allowed. I think everyone should just be allowed to like whatever they like, and if someone else says it's basic, well, too bad. Soren comes back in the room and immediately pours himself another glass of whiskey.
He's going for another poop.
Dude.
He couldn't get the first one out, so he's like...
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say something. If you're pooping this much and you only drink alcohol, I think something needs to change.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to notice he's filled it almost all the way to the top. Ugh. Oh my god. Like, ugh.
Evelyn, I really think you, of all people, might understand what I'm trying to do here.
Can we say something to him about the drinking?
I don't, you know what though, but like even if we could, I wouldn't want to because I don't want him to think that we're his friend.
Oh yeah. That's true.
Or that we care. I mean, like, no, like, I care about him in that way that it's like...
I don't want you to die.
I don't want you to die, and I hope you as a human are okay. But you know how sometimes people can take this little nugget of concern and turn it into, you care about me! And you're like, okay, I do, but not like that.
Cold. Cold.
You know... What?
Ice cold.
That's not cold!
Ice cold. Cold.
They will take any...
You could have put some cubes in his whiskey with that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I do. You don't think it's dangerous. You're essentially making technology that changes what people think is real.
Yeah, no, I don't want to have a relationship with this man either. Where he calls up at 3 a.m. again,
Yeah,
drunk.
So
No, I'm
Trust
kidding.
me,
I'm
trust
just
me,
giving
I
you
know
shit.
exactly where this goes. I know where it goes.
And they don't remember all the things they said to you yesterday, and so they say it again, and you're like, please stop drinking. Please. And you just eventually, you just get tired. If you have somebody in your life calls you drunk at 3 a.m.
Every day.
About the same stuff, you don't have to talk to them because all you're doing is enabling them. So the best thing you can do for them and yourself is to not indulge them anymore. You don't owe them. And if they get worse, that's not your fault. That's literally their own fault. So you don't have to hold that emotional energy.
Evelyn, you're much more concerned than you used to be about this kind of thing. I remember when you would dive headfirst into anything that held a promise, even a fleeting one, to help humanity. What changed your mind to make you so wary, so skeptical now?
Can I ask you something, Soren? What did you tell Damien?
Oh, this again. Don't tell me we had all of this wonderful conversation tonight, and now you're trying to blame me for Damien.
Yeah, we're going there.
Who put you up to this? Was it Nora? Raynor?
No, nobody. Me.
I just want to know the truth, Soren.
Nobody thought we could do it. You remember that. There was skepticism from day one. I had to defend us constantly from other project managers who didn't like that we existed, who wanted our budget and resources for themselves. Some of those were vicious, vicious fights. Amid all that, I had to be a leader, too. Part of that meant giving everyone on the team accurate information. So I was honest. Honest in saying there were forces that sought to kill our project. And I was honest when I said we'd never survive if we didn't have something to show for our work. That was the reality. Without a product, we would be nothing.
I wonder if one of the reasons, like, even in the back of his brain, why he is pursuing this other project where you can take away all the pain is because of Damien. Or one of the reasons why he's so miserable is because he blames himself for Damien, even though he is yelling at her about it. But, like, if that's in there, you know?
A guy like Raynor has access to anything he wants. If your pitch and demo isn't in the top 1% of what's out there, why would he be interested? That's what we were up against.
So many mornings, I would get into work and see Damien there. At first, I thought he was getting up earlier than me, but then I noticed he was still wearing the same shirt from the day before. Then, one morning, I got in and...
Evelyn, please. I wanted everyone on the team to be healthy. I think that's so obvious it doesn't need to be said, but I'll say it now if you think I was deliberately trying to harm him. Did I instruct you to work until you injured yourselves? No, absolutely not.
I was trying to figure out if she was implying that they had some sort of, like, romantic involvement.
It was a tragedy, and I'm very sorry that it happened. I wish it hadn't. But I wasn't telling Damien to pull all-nighters. He was an adult. He made his own decisions about how he was going to work. And besides, what about your role in all this? If you noticed him not taking care of himself, you could have mentioned it. None of that behavior was unusual for Skanda anyway. It was part of our reputation, part of the culture. There isn't a single cause you can isolate in a case.
Sitting in one place for too long. Chronic stress. Both of those are risk factors.
Evelyn, I'm truly, truly sorry about what happened to Damien. He had a bright future, and it was a shock to all of us. But the answers here aren't simple ones. Dwelling on it isn't going to bring him back, nor is discussing the huge number of potential causes of pulmonary embolism.
Oh, so he didn't kill himself. He just died of lack of taking care of himself.
It happened, and now we have to move on.
It felt like everything stopped. All of the work we were doing might as well have crumbled into dust. We were trying to build something to help the world, and we got lost along the way. What was the point? There didn't seem to be a point any longer.
I know that you cared about him. The process of grief can go on for some time, but you're taking the right steps. You're regaining your sense of purpose, aren't you? The experience of suffering is what makes us want to end suffering. It's late and I've had quite a bit to drink, so I'll tell you a secret, Evelyn. I said I want to end human suffering, which makes me sound very altruistic, but I'm not doing it for humankind. I'm doing it for myself.
What? No way!
I have nothing. I've ruined every relationship I was ever in.
Well, when you're a fuckboy, that's what happens.
I hardly ever see my kids, and, well, they hate me anyway. I want to end my own suffering, but I can't bring myself to do it the traditional way. That's why I pursued this technology. That's why I want it to exist. The idea that everyone else could use it too, it's just a bonus.
Please, I want to say that.
Yeah.
Soren, are you okay?
No, not at all. I'm aware of that. I'm not a good person, Evelyn. Neither is Rainer, of course, but at least I'm honest with myself about that. So, now that that's all out in the open, you probably want to head home before it gets too late. Don't let me keep you.
Yes, I'll get going. I hope you can feel better.
No, I'll be fine. Just, please, consider it, Evelyn. You and I are both more familiar with pain than we might wish to be. What if you could take that away? Each of us has a destiny to fulfill. I truly believe that. I'm sure yours will come into focus soon.
Somehow that conversation ended up being very draining. Is the promise of that new technology really all that keeps him going? He's watching something and smiling to himself. The phone tips in his hands, allowing me a glimpse of the screen. Whoa. How?
How?
Oh. Alright, so she's looking over here, so maybe he can see it through the... She can see it through the window?
Yeah.
It's a cat video.
Because otherwise you're like how?
I think I've seen this person before. We must have a similar commute. Maybe he works at Skanda too. Some days it feels like the whole city does. Hello, at Skanda we continuously strive to provide meaningful and empowering work environments for all our individual contributors, including contractors like you. To that end, we periodically survey this group in order to better understand how we can further enhance the Skanda experience. We are interested in your feedback regarding your experience as a contractor for Skanda in the proxy contract position. If you wish to participate in the survey, simply reply to this message. Thanks. Contract blah 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 blah. Ooh. There is no need to rush.
This reminds me of my moving desktops. I have all like the moving cyberpunk desktops. Ooh, Mark Forrest, all good things. Well, everyone, today is my last day at Skanda. What can I say? It's the end of an era. When I joined this place, it was just a hope, a dream, a vision to stop, look back, and see just how much we've accomplished in the last 2 decades is mind-boggling, to say the least. I'll miss the old crew and everyone who was in the trenches with me. You know who you are. Wait, is this Mark, the guy?
I don't know.
Well, because he said in the trenches, and so
I
was thinking it was that.
Yeah, maybe it is, dude.
Yeah. Remember the insane blackberry brambles around campus that people would get serious cuts from? The time the network broke and Raj had to host all our internal docs from his garage? The time we tried to roll out the big Polaris update right as the worst windstorm in a decade hit? Old Skanda hands also know how to mass email everyone at the company, even though IT believes they turned off that feature. Sorry, Stuart. I wish I could say it was all smooth sailing, but as with any job, there were times of friction, times when it seemed to me what the very clear, obviously correct path was not as apparent to others. I value a spirit of openness and candor in my interactions, and thought everyone else here did too, but as we grew, I suppose it was inevitable that we would take on a larger and larger group of people with an entirely different communication style than I am used to. In regard to specific instances, I would like to apologize to anyone I may have offended in the way that I presented my views. For those of you asking where I'm headed to next, the answer is nowhere yet. I'm going to spend some time with my family before I think about my next act. It's a different world out there now, with new challenges and new horizons. Maybe this old dog will learn some new tricks in time. Thanks for being the best engineering team in the world. I'm proud to have served alongside you. Excelsior!
Mark. Well, you know what, Mark? Good for you.
I think that is exactly what we told him to do.
That's great.
Us, not Eliza.
But yeah, Eliza didn't do shit.
Eliza didn't do shit, but we were like, Mark, retired.
Maybe that's the whole thing with Eliza, is that the original intent is just to listen and let people come to their own emotional conclusions. Just by talking. Mark, you need to retire.
Yeah.